Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over an incredibly strong and very consistent gold farm in Dragonflight. And this specific farm is a little bit different than a lot of other farms because you're not always going to be able to do this. There has to be a specific world quest up for this farm to be active. Now this farm is going to be located in the Inaran Plains and you're going to be looking for a world quest called Windbreaker. And all this world quest has you do is to kill a handful of air elementals at this one little area. And that's basically what the world quest spawns in. There's a small little plateau that's just absolutely packed with air elementals. And that's going to be the farm, and the world quest has to be active. Now, when I'm recording this, the world quest has 9 hours left. So there's a possibility when I upload this that this farm won't currently be active. So keep that in mind. But we have known about this farm for a little bit over a week now, but I wanted to wait doing a video for this because I wanted to see if this world quest would come back and if it would come back the exact same way. Because a lot of times if there was a crazy farm at a specific world quest in past expansions, I know this specifically happened a handful of times in Legion. When the world quest came back and was able to be farmed again, it would have been nerfed. But this one is the exact same, and I think this is the second or third time this world quest has been here, so most likely this isn't going to get nerfed. So anytime this world quest comes back into rotation, you can come here and farm it. And this also means that the rousing and awakened air that you're farming here is going to have pretty big ups and downs in terms of how much you're going to be able to sell them for, depending on if this world quest is up. So if you have a bunch of rousing or awakened air and you see this world quest up at any point, I would probably recommend you just save those until this world quest is down for maybe a day or two, and the prices will steadily go up because there have been quite a lot of groups in the group finder farming up this area and just farming ridiculous amounts of this element, which is going to drive down the price quite a bit. So even if you're not doing this farm and you have a bunch of elemental air from this expansion, I would save it till this world quest is gone, sell all of those when the world quest isn't up, and then go farm a bunch more when the world quest comes back up. And this is an incredibly easy farm. All you're going to want is either one group of 5 or 2 groups of 4. You're going to want one monk statue and then a bunch of ranged pullers and maybe a few bursty AoE DPS that sit on that statue and burst down all the pulled enemies. Hunters are probably going to be the best for this because there are tons of smaller minion-like enemies in this area as well, and a hunter can just spray everything and pull pretty much everything in this area in one cooldown. But pretty much any other range is going to be really good as well. Moonkins are still going to be really good here. I farm here on a priest, and that's really good, especially for actually killing enemies. That's good. I know something like a Fury Warrior is really good for just sitting on the pile and spamming AoE damage. And then if you also want a tank, you can have that so they can keep aggro. These enemies don't do a ton of damage like at the cloth farm, so mainly you just want to kill everything as quickly as possible. Now before we get into how much gold you can expect to make here an hour, I wanted to get in game and show you guys the different professions you should be using for farming this and the different specializations. So pretty much the only thing you're going to want is enchanting with some specific specializations, which is going to make you a ton of additional gold. So you're going to want Insight of the Blue. This will allow you to get mystic items, and all these enemies can also drop mystic items. You generally want to max this out because this is just going to give you a lot higher chances to get those mystic items, and getting a single epic mystic item just massively increases the gold you're going to be making. And then you're just going to be getting tons of the uncommon and tons of the rare mystic items as well, massively increasing the amount of gold you're going to get. I think if you do this with this mystic specialization and then compare it to someone not doing it with that, you're going to make more than double the gold they're going to make because you're just killing so many enemies here that you're definitely going to want this. And since this is just a normal world quest in one of the zones without being in an elite area, this will scale for whatever character you want to go on. So if you have like a level 61 with the correct specialization and you want to go farm this, you can do it just as well or maybe even better than the level 70s because it scales to you. And you're still going to be getting basically the same amount of gold an hour. So Inside of the Blue is the best thing you're going to get. And then as a secondary, you can go into Primal Extraction. Now this gives you a small chance to get additional rousing elements basically from just looting anything that can drop it. The explanation is a little bit weird, but that's essentially how it works. and you get 1% for every increased level on this. And as you see, I actually don't have a lot of these, so you could be making a lot more gold than I am. But one thing I did notice with primal extraction is even though just unlocking this gives you the unlock to be able to get more rousing elements from looting those enemies, it seems like this doesn't work unless you put a few points in. Because when I just put in these 4 points, the amount of additional rousing elements I was getting just skyrocketed. So I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or if it's a bug where it doesn't correctly activate, but I would recommend at least putting 1 or 2 additional points into this if you're not already spec'd into this, because that will just give you a lot more rousing elements. But if you have a character that has max out Inside of the Blue and max out primal extraction, you're going to be making a ridiculous amount of gold from this farm. And you're also going to be making a lot more gold than I made doing this farm and that we're going to go over in this video. If you max out both of these, you could probably be making upwards of 100,000 gold in an hour pretty consistently. And with the gold per hour for this farm, if you don't have good DPS and good pullers, you're not going to make near as much gold doing this farm. There was a pretty massive difference between having a good group with good DPS and really good pullers compared to having just like average pullers and lower DPS. The differences are incredibly massive just because of how fast the spawns are here and because of how small an area this is. So keep that in mind that if you get a good group, your gold is probably going to be pretty insane. So over an hour, I was able to get 6,000 raw gold, which is a lot more than I thought I would get here. And keep in mind, this was with a really good group. And the raw gold all comes from selling just the gray items that all the elementals drop. You get a lot of them and they sell for a decent bit. So this is one of the highest raw gold farms that I have found in Dragonflight so far, over an hour. So really good for that. Then I was able to get around 1,000 rousing air in an hour, which is pretty crazy. But keep in mind, you'll be able to even get more than that if you max out the specialization we went over. So I could definitely see people getting 1,200 or more if they have a good group and max out that specialization. So that was another 32,000 gold. Now I think this is on the lower end of the pricing. And I think if you go check, like I mentioned, when the world quest isn't up, you may be able to make quite a lot more gold from your rousing air or awakened air. Check those 2 prices to see which one you should be selling. Then I was able to get 18 resonant shards in that hour, so the epic enchanting material, for over 40,000 gold. Now this one can be a little bit RNG. If you maxed out the mystic specialization that we just went over, you'll still be getting generally the same amount of epic mystic items I was getting, but when you disenchant an epic mystic item, it can give you 1 to 4 resonant shards. So there's a massive difference between getting a bunch of these epic items, disenchanting them all, and all getting 1 or all getting 4. So I was able to get 18. I think that was slightly on the high side. So keep that in mind, you might get a little bit lower on that. Then I was able to get around 1,200 gold worth of dust just from all the green items we're getting, and then around 2,700 gold for the vibrant shards from disenchanting all of the blue mystic items. So this comes out to right around 85,000 gold in an hour of doing this farm. This is really good. Like I mentioned, I think you'll be able to get upwards of 100,000 if you're doing this with the correct max out specializations. And you may even be able to up that a little bit more if you're selling all the elemental air when the world quest is not up. But that's pretty much all I want to go over for this farm. Incredibly strong farm, very consistent, and I would recommend going and trying this out anytime you see that world quest up. This is easily one of the best AoE farms I have seen in Dragonflight so far, and now that we know the world quest will keep coming back, and it has yet to have been nerfed, it's something that I think you'll be able to consistently do over the weeks. So subscribe if you want to see more World of Warcraft or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this elemental air farm, and thanks for watching.